Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Rent-Free History. I'm your host, Kemdi Wosu, and today I'm joined by our first returning guest of the podcast. Please state your name.
Hi, I'm Mixtly. Thank you so much for having me back.
Yeah, no problem. We loved your first episode, and by we, I mean I liked your first episode because these haven't, I haven't released these anywhere except Titan Radio yet, so at the time. I think I'm going to start releasing them this month. And by this month, I mean the month that I'm recording this in, which is November.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad I'm back.
Yeah. So in our last episode, we talked about Aztec sacrifices and just the Aztec civilization in general, a little bit of the Maya as well, and then just like human sacrifices in general for a little bit.
Yeah, the deities and all that.
Yeah.
And they're hella hard names to pronounce.
Yes.
Yep.
There is a couple difficult names in this episode, or at least that I'll have. I think you might have as well.
Yeah, I think I have like at least like 2 or 3 that I'm like, oof.
Okay.
Sorry, don't cancel us. We're doing our best.
So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about something that at the time of recording this is actually, even at the time of recording this, it's a little late. But we'll be talking about Santa Muerte and El Dia de los Muertos, which is Santa Muerte is basically stands for Santa. Is a translation, a feminine version of the word saint.
Yep.
And Muerte, of course, is death. So basically, Santa Muerte is the saint of death, more specifically, the folk saint of death. And El Dia de los Muertos is
Coco.
Yes. It is not Mexican Halloween. It is the Day of the Dead.
It is the Day of the Dead, not Mexican Halloween.
Okay. So, do you want me to start off, or do you want to say what you know about Santa Muerte?
I mean, I have like the origins and stuff. Like, it's entirely up to you.
Okay.
But
you're the guest. I'm gonna say you go first.
Okay. Well, essentially, La Santa Muerte, she goes by a lot of different names. You know, she goes by La Flaca, La Niña, La Madrina, and of course, you know, Santa Muerte. And, you know, she's not recognized by the Catholic Church. In fact, you know, a lot of Catholic churches say that, you know, whoever worships her, it's they believe them to be satanic. But oddly enough, most of the people that do worship her, they're actually Catholic. It's not a bad thing. Many of her devotees do come from, you know, like regular households like you and I, you know, and they just feel comfort in confiding in La Muerte for help because she judges no one, because in the end, all humans will end up meeting her embrace anyways.
Rich, poor,
don't matter.
Yeah.
You're going to meet her one day. Not in like a scary way, sorry. But yeah. What do you know about the origins of La Muerte? I'm kind of curious because as I was doing research for this thing, I knew obviously what was just told to me growing up, but I had to, you know, dig a little deeper and then also make sure I was factually correct because, you know, game of telephone, things kind of get, you know, a little wishy-washy when it comes to history. It's a little messy. But
yes.
What did you discover, Kemdi?
Well, I learned that she was a folk saint in particular, which are like most folk saints are based off of real people, rather than like real people that worked. I guess I would say they were, how you say, they grinded. You know, they were on that grind, rather than the European people, the saints that most people know about, which. You know, there's a bit of a divide because the folk saints are people that people nowadays can more relate to, while the actual saints that are recognized by the Catholic Church are from so far away. They lived such different lives, so people can't really connect with them.
Exactly.
And it gets harder with like each generation as they go on and on.
Yeah, kind of going off of that, back then they had different morals and principles too, you know, so what we value today is not what they valued then. Of course, there are some things that are just good and then bad, like, you know, oh, like, you know, you shouldn't kill someone, you know, stuff like that we can all relate to. I hope everyone thinks that we shouldn't do that. But it's exactly what you're saying. You know, we can't relate to people back then because it was just such a long time ago. We don't do the same things. We don't think the same way.
Yeah, back then, like, it was healthy to be overweight because it meant like, oh, you were rich and
Yeah.
you could, afford to eat a lot of chicken, which is great. Everyone loves chicken.
Yeah, same thing with like having very like fair skin. Like now if you have fair skin, it's like, oh, you probably work like a very like like sad like office job and you don't get a lot of sun. But if you're
No
tan,
farmer's
it's like,
tan.
oh yeah, exactly. If you have like a nice like even tan, it's like, oh, you probably like go on vacations and you get to like sunbathe and all that stuff. So
Yeah. Or you pay for a tanning bed.
exactly, that too. Which costs money.
Yeah, I'm always scared. I don't need to use a tanning bed. But no, I would never
In case
use.
you guys didn't know.
In case you guys didn't know, I am black. Spoiler alert. And I was scared to use a tanning bed because of this scene in the third Final Destination movie, where these two girls get basically stuck in tanning beds, and they basically get killed and all burned up.
Actually, I never saw that movie because I was too scared.
Oh, yeah, it was the roller coaster one.
Oh yeah, I saw that clip. I think it was like on one. I saw the certain death clips like online just because I wanted to see what I was missing out on. And I was like, oh no, thank you. But yes, I did see the roller coaster one.
And this kind of relates to what we were talking about. Because death is inevitable and it comes for everyone.
Everyone, you are not safe.
Yeah.
No one is safe. But let's talk about the origins.
Yes,
so,
the origins.
Obviously I found a lot of stuff that was like, kind of all over the place because they couldn't really pinpoint when exactly, the origins of like, La Santa Muerte started. But they say that it most likely happened during the colonial era when the Spanish introduced Catholicism to the Mexica people when they conquered Mexico. And, of course, the natives in Mexico, mostly the Aztecs, but also the Mayans and the other tribes, had their own version of death or the Grim Reaper. So when they saw those depictions of death presented by the church, it is likely that the natives began to combine the two when they were forced to convert to Catholicism. And instead of viewing the Grim Reaper as just a, like a personification of death, they started to interpret that as actually being a saint or like a deity, that took offerings like all of their deities and all that stuff. So we got some kind of mix between these depictions, and that's how we got essentially La Muerte. Needless to say, the Spanish were not happy about that. But there's no consensus as to the exact origins. This is most likely just what ended up happening. So you might hear, something different somewhere else. But I think this is a little bit more geared to what I think most likely happened based on the research I did.
Yeah, I have basically the same thing. The origins are unknown and largely debated. One of the more prevalent theories is like what you said during the colonial period. It was a combination of the Grim Reaper and indigenous death deities, which when the Spanish introduced Catholicism. And another states that she originates from the Aztec religious practices. Central Mexico believes this. And she's an adaptation of the Aztec goddess of death.
Exactly, yeah. Mictlan, yes.
Yes.
She is like essentially supposed to be like a new, I guess like the Spanish remix version of that. But actually, I'm glad that you brought her up because you know the Book of Life?
Book of Life, yes.
Yes, the movie, which, if you haven't seen it already, it's an amazing movie. But the La Muerte, they have La Muerte in that movie, and, she's, like, this really pretty, like, cute, like, sugar skull, like, deity. And when I first saw it, it kind of reminded me of, like, because I didn't realize until, like, I saw that I think her love interest, I forgot what his name was. I think it was like Xibalba or something like that. And it reminded me of like the two deities in that the Aztecs had because Mictlan would oversee the underworld with her husband, Mictlan Tecotl, something like that. Like they both oversaw the underworld, and the fact that La Muerte and obviously like Xibalba in the movie, they were kind of both fighting over who can rule which underworld, really made me think of the Aztecs, and I wondered if like maybe that inspired it. I did a little digging. As it turns out, that didn't, but I was like, it could be potential connection. But yeah, I feel like stuff like that can maybe, like kind of bleed into like art and stuff. Because I made that connection when I was watching that movie. But I don't know. Like, I just thought it was something interesting. And like, it like they could have very well, said that it was. And it could have been like, oh yeah, like that makes sense because the deities were together. And then they were like husband and wife, kind of like how the two characters were like husband and wife. And they were like, arguing and bickering and doing this whole big like wager or whatever.
I feel like that could be the next great sitcom if they were to bring sitcoms back. Just like do something completely or not orthodox. Do two people, just like a couple in the underworld, like just like
oh yeah, have a Mictlan and a Mictlacutul like down there.
Yeah,
and
then
they
rolls
both
off
just
the tongue.
Yeah. I'm sure they would like kind of like change it to something very, like easier to pronounce. But
Eminem.
Oh. Yeah, they would be Eminem.
Eminem.
But yeah, they would rule the underworld, and it made me think of those characters.
Now, I don't know if you have any more after Origins, but this next section I have is called the Wilderness Years, because from the research I did, it's unknown why, but there are no recorded documents on the history of Santa Muerte, again, until the 1940s, so that's like 200 years of just like no information.
Yeah, exactly. I did notice that. We didn't start seeing her depictions again until like roughly, I think like the 1940s, if I do remember correctly. Now you gotta remember this was during the Chicano movement as well, so a lot of artists began to depict her more in art because there was this really big push towards really standing by like our culture and stuff, and obviously that's one of the things that we celebrate. So they started to have more depictions, specifically of La Catrina and things like that, as a way to like, I guess like be proud of one's own culture. So for Chicanos, it was acknowledging the things that separate us, and make us unique as a culture. So like obviously, worshiping La Muerte is, I think, something very interesting like about us. Actually, wait, I don't know if I'm allowed. Well, okay. I don't know if my family's gonna hear that. Well, I guess I'll just tell you guys, whatever.
Honestly, if your family hears this, that means this podcast is a success.
You know what? So. Yeah. You know what? I don't care if my family hears this. But my grandmother, she used to worship La Muerte, and so she, and because we all lived together, we were a big like Mexican household. She would also take me to go worship La Muerte with her, and we would bring her like offerings and stuff. And from my understanding, she said that whenever we offered something to her, it had to be something that we actually cared about, and it had to be meaningful. Because essentially, if you don't offer up something that's actually of value to you, it's kind of like a empty gift. Kind of like when you gift someone something that's like you don't really care about, and like you don't put much thought into it. It's kind of like that.
Card.
Yeah, exactly. So I when I was doing research for this, I saw that there was this huge city in Mexico, and man, I wish I could remember off the top of my head what the name of the city was, but it's essentially like really big on worshiping La Muerte, and so like a lot of them will actually have like their own dedicated shrines and small temples of her around the city, and it kind of reminded me of the altar we had for her at my household, and I guess like from an outsider perspective, it could potentially look kind of scary, but it's supposed to be like she's just doing her job, like we just have to accept it as the next part of your soul, like you end the living part, and then you transcend to the to the afterlife. You're not here anymore with the living souls.
Like this kind of transitions. You mentioned some effigies at some point, and that kind of transitions into modern day, when in 2001 this woman named Enriqueta Romera, I'm sorry I butchered your name, placed a statue outside of her home to thank Santa Muerte for freeing her son from jail.
Yes, I do know about that one. Actually, a lot of people that I think that's why we see a lot of people who are involved in more, because like for example cartels, like a lot of them will actually have tattoos, or people who are involved with like gangs and stuff. And I think that's also why there's this very negative association with La Muerte. But it's not because these people are using her image and stuff. It's because she's non-judgmental. She's not going to be passing judgment over individuals who have done wrong in life. Because as we mentioned before, at the end of the day, she's going to have to take care of them anyways and help them cross to, to be judged. Which is why a lot of people who aren't necessarily, I guess you can say, quote unquote, like close to God, they feel more comfortable praying and worshiping her for that reason. So I'm really glad that you brought that up. Was there anything else you wanted to expand on when it came to that?
Yeah. So this, as you said, it seemed to popularize her a bit more, brought her back to the culture from the mainstream to some degree. And this is furthered when a man named Jonathan Legadia Vargas, better known as Commander Panther, hopefully I said that right, built a towering 70-foot effigy just outside of Mexico City. He was a prominent figure in the rise of Santa Muerte as well until he was shot and unfortunately killed in 2008.
Oh, whoa.
His mother, also named Enriqueta, was a venerator of the Virgin Guadalupe, but she shifted that over to Holy Death, or Santa Muerte, as part of a promise to Santa Muerte in exchange for punishing those who took her son's life. She in turn gained much leeway in terms of status, spiritual prestige, and social capital. And she unfortunately passed away in 2018, and now her daughter Crystal, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but she's taken over leadership.
Oh wow, I actually haven't heard of that story. That's really interesting. What are your thoughts and opinions about that? Like, what do you think?
I do think it's very interesting. I'm not sure where I fall in religion. We can just talk about religion in general later. But I do think it's interesting because La Muerte, or Santa Muerte, she doesn't judge anyone, because she's death. Death doesn't judge. Death comes to all. So I do think it's interesting that people, like, I don't know, of all just kind of groups can come in and have something that they can support. And I do understand why Catholicism is against it, because it threatens their very religion, to some degree.
Yeah.
Because, they're not...
It's kind of like what you're saying. They're not... they don't want to encourage praying to death because it's not a real person. Yeah. Kind of like how we pray to certain saints, and like, praying to God is obviously the exception because that's supposed to be our creator. Yes. I guess kind of the good. I mean, I don't. Well, once again, I'm not sure how the listeners might take this, but just to make it clear, like from just the standpoint of acknowledging La Muerte as, like a deity that people do worship. There are certain like Catholic churches that do recognize her and don't judge those who decide to worship her. But for the most part, the Vatican has not acknowledged her as an actual saint, and they don't condone worshiping La Muerte. So yeah, and then there's obviously that extreme like point of view of viewing it as satanic, which I mean it's not, but
I think the another reason Catholicism seems to be against it is because worshiping death in essence contradicts the whole point of Christ, because he's supposed to have conquered death. So
yeah, it could be exactly that as well. Yeah, honestly, like I completely agree with your viewpoint when it comes to that. Yeah.
I think also there's a huge following, of course, with like marginalized populations, but also those with conflicting histories. And I think the association that it has with, I guess, like the most popular, like the only thing I like knew about La Muerte was, I had seen the image of like La Muerte before, like the skull, because of Breaking Bad. Like, I think there was an episode that featured it, and it's mainly associated, I guess, like in the news, they associate it with cartels primarily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, that's true. Well, it's kind of like going back to what we're saying, like, death doesn't judge and she's going to come for everyone. And, like, similarly, I think the narrative that's trying to be pushed is that there should be no fear of death because, that's just a part of, ending the cycle of life. And I think Mexico is kind of metal for that because, when it comes to all things death, death is not only desensitized, it's celebrated. Hence, like, why we have Day of the Dead. There are no negative connotations that are associated with, the deities, and such as La Muerte, who many would just argue is doing her job, And we see individuals as passing as, like, oh, well, like, they get to rest now, and then they visit us, 2 days out of the year after that to drop in and say hi. So we get 2 days of partying for that. So technically Dias de los Muertos, but Day of the Dead, yeah.
All right. I thought that was a pretty good talk about Santa Muerte. I think we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, we will talk about El Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
What's up, Titans? For all of our concert-loving students, there will be a Halloween-themed festival called Nothing Fest on October 21st at the Garden Amphitheater in Garden Grove.
This will feature around 22 artists, including the headliners Innerwave and Late Night Drive Home. Innerwave will be performing their Notorious album 3 in full to celebrate its 10-year anniversary.
If you are someone who likes indie grunge music and wants to celebrate this spooky season with some good music, you can find tickets at nothingmag.tv. See you there, Titans!
Wasn't that a great commercial?
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Don't know what commercial it was.
Don't know what commercial it was. Something
I'm
about
sure it was
Nothing
great.
Fest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually haven't decided yet whether or not I would remove the commercials when I upload these to Spotify, because it doesn't make any sense for people that don't go to the school if they listen to the commercials.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
then again, I've already recorded so many episodes where I've said all right, we'll be right back, and now back to a commercial. It would be kind of funny if I just did that.
Oh my gosh.
And there's no commercial.
You should. It would be funny if you cut, but you did a little fake commercial, and then you're you come back.
Honestly, if I just made one of those, that would be great.
And then just have that. I think that'd be pretty funny.
I could do that. But you know what is also great?
What is also great?
El Dia de los Muertos.
Oh, I love Dia de los Muertos.
Before we talk about it, I want to talk about what was your experience with El Dia de los Muertos growing up, and how did you celebrate in school? Because that's my only experience celebrating it, honestly.
Oh, actually, I think my school didn't celebrate it. We only
really?
celebrated Halloween, and I thought that was just kind of something my family did because I was like, we're just cool like that. We just we got extra stuff. We party additionally. But no, I think later on, the same school that I went to, my sister ended up going, and I think they started implementing it when she started school.
Okay.
So I know they eventually did it, but when I got into my junior high, I noticed that they would start celebrating it at my junior high, and we would make these little cutouts of the skull candies and stuff. Some teachers would actually encourage us to bring a little sugar skull if we had one to decorate. So we did kind of more or less celebrate it, but I realized they kind of just gave a rundown of what the holiday was about. Yeah, but I would say very vague. I didn't really know more about it. I guess I wouldn't have known more about it had my family not told me. So that was that. And I remember at some point, some kid in my class tried to convince me that that the reason we have Day of the Dead was because of a James Bond movie, and I was like, no, sir.
I actually have something written about that.
Because I think, is that where, you know what, I'll let you take the reins on that. Because I think we started doing festivals because of it. But I was like, that's not the origin, dude.
I think Day of the Dead started in 2016.
No, I know. I was like, huh? Yeah, I remember I was in high school or something when you told me that. And I was like, I don't think you're correct. But anyways, take it away.
Okay, so My experience with El Dia de los Muertos was first, I didn't know what it was until there was this cartoon I used to watch when I was a kid called El Tigre.
Ooh, love El Tigre.
Great show.
Beautiful.
About a kid who could turn into a superhero with a family. And his dad was a superhero, but his grandfather was super villain. So it was like, is he gonna be good or is he gonna be evil?
Yeah. I love that show. It was so good. I also love Mucha Lucha.
Mucha Lucha.
Yeah, I like the theme song too. It was like Mucha Lucha, Mucha Lucha. Was ready to WWE everyone.
I thought that had some connection with Nacho Libre. It didn't.
Yeah,
so.
no, it's just the lucha though. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Nacho Libre is so good too. My sister's gonna be the nun for Halloween, or I guess technically this already passed, but I'm gonna celebrate my birthday and it's gonna be Halloween themed, and so I'm having a Halloween themed birthday mid-November.
Nice.
Which you're invited to, Kemdi.
Oh, thank
Please
you.
Stop by. But yeah, a lot of there's a lot of beautiful things that go with the Dia de los Muertos celebration. Obviously, we mentioned like the sugar skulls, which like people would write their loved one's name on it to kind of like help like commemorate them. And I recently found this out while researching. I always thought that alebrijes, which if you don't know, in Coco, you know how his dog turns into this little like colorful looking animal at some point. Well, those are called alebrijes, and my entire life I thought those were just what your pets transformed into. Like when they died and became spirits, they became very super colorful and like beautiful and stuff. But as it turns out, that's not necessarily like, yes, you'll see a lot of those made during the Day of the Dead celebration, but as it turns out, an artist who was recognized by Frida Kahlo was the one who originally made those types of animals, in very like whimsical colors and like very intricate, made them with wings and stuff. He made those, and because he had like a fever dream when he was sick one time and like swore he saw one, and so he started making a lot of those little art thingies, and I guess they just thought, oh, this kind of goes with like the colors of the Day of the Dead, let's like include those. So apparently they're not actually like like in conjunction the way you think that they would be. Like it's not like, oh, the Aztecs believed in like one of those like alebrijes coming by and like granting like something like that, like a deity. No, it just like an artist thought of it and just boom, we got those during Day of the Dead too now.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's what kind of I thought was interesting. But what did you discover, Kemdi?
Well, after I learned about El Dia de los Muertos in like when I was like a kid, in high school, they had like a special like Day of the Dead celebration where like all like the language classrooms were all around each other. So we would have this little walk where we would go to each classroom. Like we would like, oh, okay, you go to this classroom, you go to this classroom. They would split us up, and at one room you would get like tacos, another room you would get like pan. Yeah. Just like sugar skull, stuff like that.
The pan muerto, yeah.
And that was fun.
Yeah.
We did that like every year, but I stopped after like my junior year because I just stopped taking language.
I see. Yeah. You didn't get to enjoy the pan dulce anymore.
I tried to sneak in my senior year, but they caught me.
Oh man.
I got one taco.
Sorry, Kemdi. But we're probably gonna have some at my party, so you'll enjoy them again.
Okay.
Would you not?
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so.
By the way, tell me about that James Bond thing that you discovered.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, Day of the Dead, of course, period of remembrance, keeping those who have passed, their memory alive. And it was more common among working class Mexicans. But in recent years, it's been popular among the middle class as well, thanks to Life imitating art with films like Spectre and Coco. Spectre, in particular, is a James Bond movie in which the main character, James Bond, he and his lady friend from that movie, they walk through a crowded Day of the Dead parade. And it was so amazing and colorful. It had like 1,000 extras. It was really detailed. And it was interesting that to many to learn, including me, that there were no parades for Day of the Dead up to that point.
Yeah, apparently, like, there weren't. I didn't know that either. I just thought that, I assumed that we did. I mean, I didn't live in Mexico, so I assume, I'm like, they celebrate, they do something big. But as it turns out, they didn't do parades, like, until that James Bond movie.
Yeah.
Which I was like, ooh.
Because, like, the next year after that, they did their first parade.
It's art, life imitating art. Yeah. Yeah.
And then, so it combines, of course, indigenous rituals with Catholic practices. The Aztecs and Maya were among the more popular groups to worship gods during the indigenous period. Many groups had like special days of the week or a month dedicated to them. And for example, the Aztec goddess of death, whose name I need you to say because I will say it wrong.
Oh, yeah, let me see. I can most definitely say it. Maybe not correctly, but better.
Better than me.
Mictlan.
Okay, Mictlan. Or Lady of the Dead. She had the month of August and ruled over the underworld, as we previously mentioned, with her husband, and watched over the bones of the dead, which the Aztecs believed were the source of life in the next world. And so they did worship her in August, but this changed with those dreaded Spanish.
I know, right? The Spaniards again. Here they come.
Eager to suppress the Aztec religion, they moved their celebration to November 1st and 2nd, which were still known as All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day. So on the Day of the Dead, the deceased are essentially recalled, vigils are held, gravestones are cleaned, offerings are brought to them.
All those cute little marigolds that we put.
Yes.
Yeah, those two.
Because for them, death is not the end, but rather just another step in furthering the continuation of life.
Exactly.
Now, there are two movies that basically gave me all my information about just Day of the Dead, to the majority of which, and those would be, we previously mentioned them, The Book of Life and Coco. The Book of Life I saw for the first time when I was 13 years old. I thought it was interesting. My mom took us all to see it. I was surprised when Ice Cube was in it, but I wasn't complaining because, like, there's never a time where I'm like, get Ice Cube out of here.
Oh, yeah.
I remember he was like, I think he was the god in that movie, like one of the gods.
Yeah, he was like I think he was like the cloud.
Yeah.
The cloud god or something
and
like
he
that.
said, like, today was a good day at the end, but, like, I was 13. I didn't listen to rap music, so I didn't get that reference. But it was a really good movie. I remember they had that one Mumford & Sons song, I Will Wait For You. They played that at some point. I remember the main character gets bit by this snake, and he gets sent to the underworld, and he's basically journeying back to find his way back because Channing Tatum, his character, basically set him up with the snake, and now he's going to try to steal his girl. So he has to come back, figure out the way to get past the underworld and get back to her, which kind of reminds me of that one, I think it's a Greek story, about that guy who travels. It's not exactly the same, but he travels basically to the underworld to get his lost love back after she died, and he just can't turn around no matter what.
It kind of reminds, yeah. I do know, man. And the thing is, like, I'm like a Greek god nerd. Greek mythology nerd, and like I know who exactly you're talking about, but I cannot remember the name to save my life. But right now what you're saying kind of reminds me of that scene in Hercules when he's like swimming down the river of death, where all the souls are like, kind of like they're flowing all the way to the bottom, and Meg's soul is there, and he has to try to grab it and go back up in time. Yeah, that's what that reminded me of. But I know exactly what you're talking about, and that guy ends up turning around, and therefore he gets cursed. And so, and then it kind of catapults like a whole nother story, and like with the Greek gods and stuff. So
Hercules, very underrated Disney movie.
Very underrated.
I think I don't like the Disney remakes that they do in the live action ones, but I wouldn't mind seeing like a Hercules reboot, mainly because I just want to hear the muses sing again. I want like a remix of that, because
the Zero to Hero.
Yeah.
I would love to see, like, if I would cast anyone as Meg, it'd be like Liz Gillies, like from she plays like, if for those who don't know, like she's like she plays like Fallon and like I think
Dynasty.
And then she's also Jade in like Victorious. I just feel like I don't know. I see her as a Meg.
That could work.
Yeah.
That could definitely work.
Yeah.
I don't know about Hercules. I don't know who you'd cast
I don't
as
know.
Hercules.
I genuinely don't know who I would
Maybe
cast.
an unknown.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
And then the muses probably, I would get like Jennifer Hudson. I'm getting.
Oh, you have to. Oh, Mariah Carey gotta be.
Mariah
somewhere.
Carey,
She's gotta
Alicia
be somewhere
Keys,
in
just
there.
like.
Oh yeah, Alicia Keys would be like.
Powerhouse.
Yeah, a powerhouse.
Cast.
Yeah.
Maybe even Queen Latifah. I don't.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was just
would like
watching
that.
Hairspray and I'm like, she can really sing.
She really could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like her. I watched her in Taxi, and I was obsessed with that movie. I freaking loved it. I thought her and
Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, they did like a great job together.
I forgot Jimmy Fallon was an actor at one point.
Yeah. Wait, is he he's like kind of canceled now, huh? For being like.
Oh yeah, cause
toxic.
yeah,
he's kind of canceled now.
yeah. I never
sorry
really
we
found
brought him up.
I never really found him that funny. I also didn't like every episode of the Tonight Show is literally just him breaking character, or not breaking character, but he like breaks into like this fake laughter. It'd be like, say something, for example.
Potatoes.
My God, this is classic.
I think the only episodes I've seen of his show are the ones with Cardi B, and then there's also another one with Sofia Vergara, and I thought it was actually hilarious because Sofia Vergara was she was looking kind of like I don't know, she's being low-key kind of mean. But it was so funny. Like I think she was doing it in like a joking way or something. But yeah, and then I saw like Cardi B in there, and I think she like
When they went to the restaurant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, wait.
Or was
I
that
think
Nicki
that was
Minaj?
thinking. Yeah, that was Nicki Minaj.
Okay.
But like, I think they play a game, and then he's like, "Oh, I need you to like describe the item," and she's like, "I don't know what this is." She's like, "Balls," is what she says.
I remember somebody was talking about the Nicki Minaj one where they go to Olive Garden.
Oh yeah, I love that one.
And it's just like, imagine if you're just like an average employee, like you've had a long shift, you're trying to get out of there, like you're really tired, things aren't going well for you, and then Jimmy Fallon and Nicki Minaj show up and they spend like hours just like hanging out in like.
They keep ordering the bread baskets.
Yeah, keep ordering the bread baskets.
They're not leaving.
They
get the unlimited soup, and they're just eating a bunch of soup.
And they give you, like, a $20 tip.
Yeah.
Sometimes I understand why people go insane, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why this is why I try to be a good Samaritan, a good customer when I
always
attend.
try to tip well.
Yeah.
Especially working in a restaurant, so.
Honestly, they need to take better care of those people. Like, not fair.
Just raise the salaries, just a little bit.
Yeah, just raise the salaries.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm asking for too. What do I know? I'm nothing but I'm just a Cal State Fullerton student, but a humble student.
You're a graduate.
Oh yeah, sorry, I graduated. Anyways, Dia de los Muertos.
Dia de los Muertos. Yes, that is our topic for this episode. So we were talking about the Book of Life. We were also talking about Coco. Two things that I like to bring about Coco. First of which, it's a great film, but it's kind of lives under the shadow that Disney tried to trademark Day of the Dead.
I know, horrible.
Yeah.
They get a time out for that.
Yeah, a little slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
Just like go
they
and
literally
think about
just got a
what
slap
you're
on the wrist.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think some people like knew about. I don't think people actually know about that, and those who do, they're just like, yeah, that happened. But I'm like, yo, they really tried to do that. The audacity, the cheek, the gumption, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even think you could trademark a holiday. It's a holiday.
Yeah, you can't. You could make, like, if it's a made up one, like in like a series that you made, sure. Kind of like, I think like The Office, they made up a holiday or something like that. Like, you can trademark that.
Yeah,
but
that would make sense.
you can't trademark an already existing holiday just because you made a movie about it. So yeah. Also, I heard that they didn't actually like compensate or give any royalty fees to the woman who inspired the look of Coco.
Yeah,
so
they
I was
did
like,
not do that.
Wow, unbelievable! Another slap on, another timeout. I didn't like that.
Yeah,
no bueno.
That's 20-minute timeout for you, Disney.
Yeah, exactly. That's a 20-minute time, a whole 20 minutes. Imagine what you could do with those 20 minutes. Unbelievable.
Probably spend those 20 minutes paying that lady.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing you told me about earlier this week.
Yeah.
So what is his full name?
I think oh man, he's gonna hate me if I don't say this. It's Emilio Fuentes, but he was essentially he's a student, or sorry, also a recent graduate. My bad, you guys. I graduated like 5 seconds ago, so in my head I'm still a student. But he's a recent graduate here at Cal State Fullerton, and he was actually supposed to be the voice of Miguel in Coco, but by the time the project actually got greenlit, he had actually already, like, because so much time had passed, they were like, your voice kind of isn't like up to par for this anymore. So that's when they ended up getting like the new voice actor for it. But he was going to be Miguel in Coco, and I'm like, damn, that's wild, dude. I would love to say that I was almost the voice of something. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I met the almost Miguel.
That is pretty cool, honestly. Yeah. It does suck for like those kind of roles where you're a kid and like you voice, because like if you hit like 11 or 12 as a boy, you start to fear a little bit, because
I think the voice of Dora the Explorer aged out of the role.
They changed her like 4 different times.
Yeah, they did.
And I think one of them appeared at something that I could have gone to. I don't know what I would have said. I was like, yo, what was it like voicing Dora? And she probably would have said it was chill. I can't imagine what the conversation would have been like. I can't remember what it was, but one of the voices...
probably would have yelled it. She would have been like, me gusta. She would have... Sorry, whoever's listening. My bad, I just yelled that. But yeah, she probably would have yelled it. Yeah.
And then... Because, like, as essentially what they do with most, like, little boys, they usually just get, like, a woman to voice them, because that way they don't have to worry about their voice changing. Mm-hmm. Like they do the Bart Simpson. I did hear that. Mm-hmm. Bart Simpson? I can't think of any ones right now.
I can't think of anyone else, really. Yeah.
But, yeah.
I have this kind of falls into that ballpark, but I don't know. For those of you who watch the Teletubbies, you know how, like, there's this really weird sun with a baby face on? It's like a baby face sun.
Yes.
The sun. Okay, so the baby is, obviously she's now grown. She's an adult, and she has her own kid. And in the reboot of the Teletubbies, I think it's like her daughter is now the sun in the new Teletubbies.
That's pretty cool.
And I was like, that's so cute. What the heck?
It's nice that they did that.
Nostalgia. That's adorable.
You know what's the scary thing, to go a little off topic? The Teletubbies, where they filmed, like they left that set abandoned.
Oh, and it flooded.
Yeah, it flooded, and it basically just like, I'll show you a picture, like during the commercial break, but they just like, nature kind of reclaimed that.
Oh, yeah. It did. No, I know what you're talking about. I saw it. But it was crazy. And, like, the thing is that people don't know the Teletubbies were freaking huge. Like, they were, like, I think they were, like, they were, like, 6'8" or something. Like, 6'8", almost, like, 7 feet tall.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. They were, like, humongous. They were super big.
Yeah, Shaq was one of them.
Uh-huh. But essentially what they had to do, because they were so big, and obviously they had, like, you know, the little bunnies with them, or like the rabbits, they had to get like the big giant rabbits. And I saw a photo of one of the crew members like holding the rabbits, so that when it was time to film the scene with the rabbits, they just released the giant rabbits, and they were freaking huge. They were huge rabbits they just had to like get the big ones, because they didn't want the small ones, because then they needed to make the Teletubbies look relatively small. But yeah, no, imagine being chased by a Teletubby. Scary.
Ugh. That honestly would be a nightmare of mine. To be chased by like a cartoon, a cartoon character, like an early like childhood TV show character.
Yeah, or like a Titan. I'd be scared. I'd lose my.
Or Tuffy, our mascot.
Yeah. Like, Tuffy. Actually, no. I'd run toward Tuffy. I love Tuffy.
I've only seen Tuffy once. It was during orientation.
Cute. Yeah. I like our mascot. I'm proud of our mascot. It's so cute.
All right. I do have another thing, Day of the Dead related to talk about.
Ooh, nice.
This is Calavera Catrina.
Yes, la Calavera Catrina.
Oh, Calavera Catrina.
Yeah. It's okay. You got it.
Okay.
You're almost there. I like it.
Thank you. It was created by Jose Guadalupe Posada
Mm-hmm.
in response to the Mexican Revolution in 1910.
Mm-hmm.
It was an attempt to mock the indigenous Mexicans who rejected their roots
Mm-hmm.
to pass as European. By removing the skin and reducing the figure of La Catrina to bones,
Mm-hmm.
he wanted to show universally that we are all the same.
Mm-hmm.
And he also began showing up in Diego Rivera's art, famously the lover of Frida Kahlo,
Yeah.
and who actually gave her the name of Katrina.
Mm-hmm.
And today, she's meant to remind us that no matter who we are, rich, poor, black, white, straight, gay, we're all going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Death is a mirror that reflects the vain gestures of life. I'm not sure where I got that quote from, so I do apologize, but it is a very good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. But yes, I think when it comes to La Catrina, this kind of goes back with the whole like actually taking pride in, you know, one's culture. And this isn't just like, you know, for like, you know, Chicano culture. This is for like every culture. You know, like you take pride in things that, you know, like make you guys like a collective. And the things that you celebrate together, because at the end of the day, that's what you guys value. That's what you differentiate. And you know, everyone's gonna have different things, but then I think that's kind of what's beautiful about it, because then, you know, kind of like how we then celebrated like Day of the Dead at schools. Like, you know, you didn't have to be Hispanic to celebrate it, and even now you don't have to be Hispanic to celebrate any of that, because like you said, like death comes for us all, and we should all be like a little bit more. I'm not scared of it. I'm not saying go meet your end now, but what I'm saying is don't be scared of it when it does come. And, you know, I think it's also acknowledging people's feelings, but at the same and validating them, but at the same time, kind of having it more be a little more bittersweet and kind of like fun as like a celebration. Hence why, you know, we do like the Day of the Dead, and we're happy when our relatives come to visit. We're happy that, you know, we kind of get to gift them their favorite foods and their favorite drinks and stuff. So when now that this is going to air, it's going to already have passed Day of the Dead. But, you know, I don't think I've really lost anyone in my family yet that, you know, that I knew personally. But I did lose my dog.
Aww.
So I did set up a little ofrenda for my dog, and you know, you put the treats, you put the chew toy, and you have a little moment, you know, for them, you know, so that they can come and visit, and it's very heartwarming and it feels very nice. The previous year, my sisters and I we cried because we had lost our dog, but it was a very nice way to remember her, and I think for those individuals who have lost someone very near and dear to their hearts, you know, it's a way for them to acknowledge them and to be grateful for everything that they were able to teach them and the presents they were able to give. And, you know, we just appreciate one another, and we get to remember the good times we had together. And I think that's what's really beautiful about it. You know, you get to remember them, you get to acknowledge and respect them, and give them things that they love, and remind them that you will always hold them like close to you.
It was very beautifully spoken, Mixley.
Thank you.
I hate to do this, but we have to go to commercial one more time.
As we should.
And then I want to just, you know, speak more on this, like these feelings about death that we have, and just overall opinions.
Ooh, love that.
Yeah.
Do commercial break.
I actually like that. Let's both go. 3, 2, 1. Do.
Oh wait, sorry. Wait, 1,
2, 3.
Commercial break.
Titan Radio would like to thank The Frida, a nonprofit art house movie theater located in Santa Ana. For more information, visit thefridacinema.org.
You talking to me?
The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room. Just a flesh wound.
Wax on, hat. Wax off.
I know Kung Fu. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
They're here.
3, 2, 1.
We're back. I love that.
I gotta make that something. We gotta record that at some point. I'm just gonna put that in every episode. So we talked a lot about Santa Muerte. We've talked a lot about Day of the Dead. As we talk about feelings of death, and just like religion overall. I could go first if you want, since
Go
you
for
shared.
it.
You know, growing up, I was raised a Christian, and you know, I believed in God, and I thought like, you know, one day I'm just gonna like go to heaven, be reunited with everyone that I lost, and then we'll each all have our own little house, and we'll visit each other every day, except days don't exist over there, so it's like forever. And I don't know. I guess over the years, as I grew up, I sort of started to question things a bit more, and I thought like things didn't make as much sense. So I remember by the time I got to, I would say, middle school, I was really starting to question things, and I didn't like going to church or anything like that. And I used to have these like severe panic attacks that like I really never told anyone about, because I don't know, the concept of just like being in heaven, I don't know why that scared me for some reason. Just like being like somewhere forever, just something lasting forever. I don't know, that kind of unnerved me to some degree. And I don't know, I never really talked to anyone or ever really like worried about that. I really just tried to like not think about it all that much. And I feel like death's always been like a taboo subject for me. In terms of people I've lost, I lost my grandmother when I was about, or my great grandmother when I was about 7 or 8. I don't really have that many memories associated with her now, but I think she meant a lot more to me when I was younger. But I've lived more of my life without her than with her, so it's just been hard to remember her. Like I know that she like used to take care of me. There's a slot machine at my grandma's house that like I used to play with all the time. So I know that, but that's about all I remember. And then I remember also being kind of traumatized when we went to her funeral because it was open casket.
Oh wow!
So it was like my first time seeing like a dead body.
Oh my gosh, wait, that's. I have no idea. Well, I mean, first of all, like, I'm so sorry that you were feeling that way. Like, that really sucks that you couldn't open up to anyone when you were thinking about that kind of stuff. And also, like, I have heard that that's very like, yeah, it's a shock, especially for kids that are seeing, you know, like a corpse, you know, when they're going to a funeral and stuff. So I can't even begin to imagine how I as a kid would wrap my head around that. But like, how did you deal and cope with that?
I actually had a nightmare. I've told some of my family about this. I had a nightmare like the following day, and I did like this like destroyed me for a little bit. Where it was like I was like in the dream I had like woken up from like a nap. And like there was like my grandma, my great grandma was there, and she was like, "Why did you let me die?" And like I was like, "What?" And then I woke up like right then and there. I was so scared. I was so scared. I don't know why I had that dream.
I
like I
your
remember that.
Subconscious is like trying to tell you.
I don't know either.
Well, I think dreams are like just our subconscious trying to tell us stuff like about ourselves. So maybe because you were trying to process why like this person was gone, we kind of sometimes we point fingers to try to figure out something to blame. And I think maybe because you as a kid, you couldn't really figure out a blame. Like it just kind of like you kind of pointed the finger at yourself, maybe is what ended up happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of, oh my gosh. And then like what did your family say? Like what did they have to say about that?
They were like, "It's not your fault. Like it's gonna be okay. It's gonna take some time for you to process this." I don't remember exactly, but something to that degree. And what's concerned me a little more is that like I really haven't like lost anyone since then. And I feel like I should have not saying I should have, but like I think it would have helped if I had lost someone somewhat during my maybe like my 10 years ago or something, so I could process it a bit more. Because like I don't know, I'm 22 now. I haven't really dealt with like severe loss like that. I just wonder, like I'm scared about how it's gonna affect me to some degree.
I see. Honestly, like that's not something I've really been concerned about. But then again, maybe it's because I haven't lost anyone. So I guess now that you're mentioning that, I am kind of curious to know how I would react. I mean, I would love to think I would take it very well, but you know, the truth is, you know, we might think we're gonna respond and react a certain way, but really we do something completely different sometimes. So yeah. Wow, I'm so sorry, Kemdi. That's
okay.
like that sounds so sad. But I guess like when it comes to death and like I guess the end, what do you think? I guess like, are you scared of it? Are you scared of death or like?
I think it's something that I'm hoping that I'll grow into just learning to accept. I kind of think of that the beginning of, I think it's the second to last or the last Harry Potter movie, where they have this thing about like this guy kind of evading death like with an invisibility cloak all his life. And I also think of this episode of The Twilight Zone where this one old woman, she spends her like last days just kind of evading death like as tightly as she can. And I just think like I don't want to like, I don't want to live like that, like where I'm just scared all the time. Like I'm hoping it's something that I'll just like come to accept. I mean, I've already lived such a long time. 20 years is a long time. 22 years is a long time. And when you think of it, and the fact that like I might live like, let's say to be 80 to that degree, that's like 4 times the amount. There's so much that can happen, and I don't know what'll happen. I would like for some degree for things to like, keep going on. I would like for my consciousness there to be something afterwards.
Do you mean like kind of like to be reborn?
That would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you would no longer have, like, you wouldn't have the collective memories of your previous experience. Like,
yeah.
Is this like assuming like you wouldn't mind if you
I
didn't
don't think
retain
I would
any
mind.
of that?
I think it would be okay. I think if there was some essence of me that like, I don't know, that was just still there.
Like the things that made Kemdi.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like how people say like, oh, you're like an old man. Sometimes people say to me like you're like an old man in like a kid's body, and I think like maybe like there's some essence of some person that I used to be to some degree that like sticks with you, like if you do get reborn, if that's what happens.
I used to have this. I used to think that whoever was reincarnated because they either had unfinished business or because they were like they were kind of good people, but they did a lot of bad things. Like they were like they were very lukewarm, that God was just like, I'm gonna give you a redo, like make better choices, and then that's why they ended up being reincarnated or something like that, is what I always assumed happened. So I guess when you kind of mentioned like having that, I'm thinking like, oh, reset game. So just like replay game, but like all over again, but kind of different.
Start over.
Pick a different
mode,
character, yeah. Go on hard mode, easy mode, yeah.
Wow, this is a really good talk. I wish the episode could go on longer than this. We unfortunately don't have enough time in the studio, and I really wanted to hear you share your stuff. I think what I'll do next time is I'm getting to the point where like I have enough episodes to I'm having enough episodes to like finish out the rest of the semester almost. So I feel like if you're down for it to do another episode at some point this semester,
Part 3, you guys.
Part 3. I think I'm just gonna like not even put commercials in, so we have extra space, and like we'll use up the full 1 hour and 15 minutes to just make sure we get through everything.
All right. Sounds good.
But I really like this episode. We should
Love this episode.
talk about something similar
Got you guys
next time. Yeah, edumacated.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Mixtly, for being on this episode. Really appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who listened. I feel like we were really, really getting somewhere, and I'm upset that I have to end the episode here.
To be continued.
To be continued. There will be a part 3. Thank you to everyone who's listening. Until next time, see ya.
Toodles.